please stand. Mr. Freeman, you want to lead us in our invocation?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman. Our Father God, we thank Thee for this day. We thank Thee for the citizens of Gates County who are interested in what happens in Gates County. We adore Your blessings as You bring them forth. We also thank You for the looking after our citizens of Gates County during the most recent event and keeping Your eye and Your hands upon us. Guide us as we look into the government of Gates County, and bless us, and bless the citizens, and God bless America. Amen.
We do have a flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to call the Board Commissioners meeting for November 1st, 2016 to order. The first item on our agenda, of course, is an approval of the minutes from October 5th, 2016, and a special meeting held on October 12th, 2016.
Madam Chairman, a few observations. First of all, they have the page numbers. Page 2, we've got several editorials I'd like to have corrected. I know normally we can send these in, but we don't have the minutes are in PDF, and we've got to cut and paste and try to modify it. It would help us if we could get it in Word so we can make corrections and send them in. But we got editorials on the second page. The fourth paragraph and fourth line. It says after tax notices are mailed, the monthly report will, it's give show, it should just delete give in there. And the next page, on the second paragraph, the line from, on the fourth line as well, says the job description change is allowed, instead of change taking. And on the signature page, where it has Kathy Lane, that's about page 7 or 8. Where it says, in the second paragraph, the third sentence from the bottom, says Commissioner Jordan agreed to amend his motion to include, it should be miscellaneous taxes instead of such miscellaneous, and penalties forgiven. I think the last one, the next page over, closing citizens' comments in the paragraph from the bottom, where it reads, Commissioner Jordan made a motion for the county manager to contact DOT about digital drainage issues and find outlet plans instead of finding out. That's all the corrections.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. So, approved. Okay, the next item on our agenda is agenda adjustments, and I do have one due to Mike Palster's meeting is somewhere else about 11 o'clock. We need to move all the old business after the delegations. So the whole Roman numeral 7 up to Roman numeral 5.
And please remember to add the other item.
And we're going to add under old business, a vote on the schedule of values. So that will become number 10. And then the numbers will be off a little, but it's, but we're just going to move all the old business up there. So we'll have 2 items. One, Mike McAllister, and the second one, vote on the schedule of values for the reeval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Okay, ninth delegation. My glasses are at home, so I might have to do this number. Adele Rutlow Boone. You should tell us, Adele, everybody knows you, but if you've heard the rest.
I got an order now today to address you about the situation with the young man that he was living in a living dwelling, and he is a handicap. He had a stroke, and we're trying to get the trail there. I've been going through this for 2 years. Mr. Felton, you are familiar with it. And the only thing I'm trying to do now is get the trailer, because the place that we had gotten him into, when the storm came up, we had to, last Sunday, we had to get them out. And he has nowhere to go. And the trailer is at Wayne Brown, the trailer is paid for. And only thing, I have every permit that I need from Mr. Matt Newell and everybody. I went to the county manager, and she said something, Ms. Roundtree. When you made a statement and said, tell her to sell it, you can't sell something that you put your whole life in. You said sell it and then start making build a stick-built house. Everybody can afford that. The young man don't have anywhere to go. The land, the taxes are paid up, the septic system is in approval with Mr. McDougal. I got every permit that needs. Only thing I'm asking the commissioners of Gates County to allow the trailer to come in.
Okay, have you been to the,
I went through that. Mr. Felton was there. Mr. Felton knows I've been going through it for 2.5 years. He started the survey, and the land is in the one. We have I have the new deed from Pitt Garden, and he said they'll just go to the commissions to see can we get the trail in there so the young man can have somewhere to go.
What is the current zoning of the property right here?
It is not zoned for a trailer.
What is it zoning?
That's what I'm looking for, but
It was approved for a zoning.
in August of 2014, and then follow up with Jennifer Baptiste that she has left. The property in 2014, there was a family land issue that needed to be resolved.
And it's straightened.
And I have not seen any deeds. The last deed that
You didn't ask for one then.
the last information that I was provided was the special use permit that has to be applied for. The property is on A1, which only allows mobile homes of special use. And that application, Ms. Boone and the family does have that application, and that application has not been returned.
Because
It has
the
not been
application,
done.
you're not allowing me to speak, but the application that you were talking about is the one that you wanted for a special permit. And a special permit, you were asking Marjorie, Vanessa to pay $500 for the special permit. And the special permit has to be notarized and signed by both of them.
Correct.
But the point I'm saying is that the house was a living dwelling.
I cannot make exception to the rule. I'm going by what.
But
what
if you're
this
living in someone and living somewhere, and your house has to be torn down because it's not a living necessity, then what are you supposed to do? Please, commissioners, explain that to me.
It was in an A1. There was no trailer there before, is that right?
No,
All right, you want to put a trailer in A1?
Yes,
All right, so you need a special use permit,
okay.
okay? Once you go, normally we charge $500 for a special use permit to go for, board adjustments. Now, it hasn't gone before, it hasn't gone for board adjustments yet, is that correct?
No, it has not.
Okay,
Because when Mr. Felton was there 2 years ago, the zoning was approved.
well,
Because the house was not handicap accessible, and that he said to get the land in 2 names, and the land is in the 2 names, and I have the deed, and I have the survey from Paul Toles.
well, now, what would prevent the special use permit from going before the board of adjustments, except the $500? If the $500 was paid, could the special use permit go before the board of adjustments?
It would not go before the Board of Adjustments till December, once I have to have the application by November 15th.
You have to have the application.
The application has not been turned in.
Okay, so we need to turn the application in.
Okay.
All right. Is he able to pay $500?
Well, at this time, no, but it will be in there Wednesday, next Wednesday. I'll bring it on in.
Okay, if you can bring that in and bring the application, it can go before the board of adjustments.
However, everyone's signature must be on that paper that's notarized. And it
Everybody's
has,
signature is, I told you, I have the deed and everything that is Vanessa Wiggins and Marjorie. But the point that Vanessa is upset, and I have a notarized statement for me to act on her behalf. And she's saying that she has, and Mr. Felton, he knows about all this. Vanessa is the only one that has paid the taxes. Nobody has ever paid the taxes for her. I have all her tax receipts. And she feels like she's being treated unfairly, that she has to pay this money and they don't have to pay anything. And I explained to her that it's not their responsibility to pay the taxes, but she's the only one that has ever paid the taxes. And they have never paid any taxes.
Who is that?
The other part of the family. Vanessa Wiggins is the only one that has paid the taxes. And I have everyone the taxes. Her last payment was $1.24, and I acted on her behalf and paid it.
It seems, from the board commission standpoint, the issue is if we can get the special use permits, all these signatures, and with the application fee, then it would go before the board of adjustments. And we can get it in before the 15th.
Okay.
And it will be on the, what is it?
December.
December 20th, I believe. Or that third Tuesday, yes.
Right.
And it's shown on the cover sheet of that special use permit form, I believe that you have. It's the 20th. Thank you.
And David, make a decision.
If there's any things that need to be corrected, certainly I can get in touch with her at times to, make sure everything is, all the i's and the t's are dotted, so that we won't have any issues with the board of justice once it gets there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Felton?
Good morning. Thank you all for allowing me to take a few minutes to speak before you. I have the privilege to speak with Mr. Jordan at the hardware store, and I talked with Mr. Felton by phone, but others I haven't had that opportunity to plead my case. The state General Assembly has passed a bill, and that bill should be before you, to allow us to do work in many trades without permitting. I personally have a problem with that. I like that second set of eyes looking at my work as well as other contractors' work. And with this bill in place, that second set of eyes is not gonna have that opportunity to look at work, perform for people just like in here, myself, and you as well. To give you a quick example, I can come, I'm a plumbing contractor in the state of North Carolina, licensed throughout the entire state. I can come to each and every home here, replumb your water piping, your drain piping, your vent piping, and I don't have to secure a permit. Ask yourself, does that sound right? In my opinion, it's not. A second set of eyes is not going to see that work. And that's where I'm at right now. This bill was passed in July of this year, July 26th. House Bill number 770. I'm not convinced that each and every senator that passed this bill had the best interest of all the citizens of North Carolina at heart. That being said, I'm proposing in a letter form to those senators and congressmen to reverse this bill in its entirety. And what I'm asking for here is your letter of support with me as well, if you agree with where I'm going with this. I'm taking it very serious. I feel sure you should, once you read House Bill number 770 and my letter as well, you'll see how passionate I am about wanting to do the right things while each and every customer and each and every citizen and business in this state. But it's going to not directly, not indirectly, but directly impact every person and business in this state. It's serious. Do you have any questions?
Okay, so you're saying that this bill, that if someone's building a home or remodeling a home, they don't have to get a plumbing permit if you're... Remodeling
Up to $15,000. In most cases, I can replumb most of your water piping or drain piping for much less than that. So that, yes, that would not entail a permit. Nor would it entail proper testing. That second set of eyes would never look at my work, nor any other contractor's work. It also entails decking, many other trades. This is not just affecting the plumbing contractors, it's affecting many other trades. So I'm passionate about it, I'm very sincere about it. Each and every customer of mine is near and dear to my heart, and I like that second set of eyes looking at my work. And I'm asking for your support in a letter form to these senators and congressmen to plead with them to change this bill back to the way it was. I don't know who paid who or what went on, but someone had to instigate a bill injected into the North Carolina General Assembly for this to happen. It's going to affect the safety and health of everybody.
So essentially, the checks and balances have gone away.
Sir?
So essentially, the checks and balances.
Checks and balances for remodeling and many other phases of remodeling are gone. Yes, and I like that checks and balances. I think it's the right thing to do. I've always thought it. Why change what's working and help people? A lot of people, when a building inspector comes on their property, they cringe. Well, is he going to look at my house? I need to do some repairs. He's not going to look at your house. he's gonna look at the work that I have performed and my work only. And he's gonna look at it, and if he sees a problem, it's his obligation to me and to the homeowner to let me know that there's a problem and I need to correct it. But now, with this bill, you're not gonna see that second set of eyes come on that property. And like I say, I've got a problem with it. And as 3 weeks ago, when I talked to my executive director of the State Board of Plumbing and Heating Contractors, they're the people that hold my license in Raleigh. Unfortunately, I'm the only contractor that's stepping up to the plate and arbitrating this bill. He's heard of no other, and I've got to believe that a lot of other contractors share my same passion, but they'd rather stand back and let someone else step up to the plate.
Well, just for clarification on how you feel about the extent of the change, it has some caveats in here that says the plumbing, however, no permit is required for replacement, otherwise meeting the requirements of this subsection that do not change size or capacity. So while the threshold is $15,000, but if I decide to put a 1-inch line instead of a half-inch line, all of a sudden,
Well,
it's not applicable.
that's a good question, and I think Mr. Edgar could shed some light on that as well. But to my knowledge, I'm upgrading your plumbing if I put in a 1-inch line versus a half-inch line existing, and I still would not have to have a permit. As long as I do not change design of your plumbing system, relocate fixtures. Now, if you say, Mr. Felton, while you're here, I want this toilet moved over here. And this tub is a little bit too close to the wall over here. Can we turn it and put it over here? Then I have to go see him and get a permit. Or if he says, I don't want that tub, I want a shower, that entails a drain piping change from 1.5 to 2 inch. I go and get the permit. Yes, good question. And for certain instances, we still are required to have a permit. But if I'm not changing design of that existing system, maybe upgrading from 3-inch horizontal piping to 4-inch, that's a plus for you because of my desire to do what I think is best for you. I still do not need a permit. Am I correct?
Yeah, that wording they got in there, change of design, has changed a lot of requirements. So like Joe said, if he's replacing a shower for a shower, he's not changing design, he's changing the permit. Even if a shower requires a 2-inch line and they got 1.5 inches and he puts it back the way it should be, that was the original design it was intended to be. Whereas the way the old code read, when you went past the track, you needed a permit regardless. That change in design has really affected it. Just this month in permits, we've been down on our issue, and we went down about 25%.
Well, if you look at this Bill 770, it states in item 2, provided you do not change size or capacity. Now, I mean, if you interpret in a different way, but that's not what it says. I mean, that's your call and job.
Well, like Mr. Felton said, he's talked to Dale Dawson, which was his representative he was talking about. Me and him both have talked to Dale and the DOI, and their interpretation, which is what I assume all the inspectors are going to go on, is when they say size, meaning the code's a minimum. If you go above that, you're not impeding on it. Now, they got a clause in there about water heaters. Now, on water heaters, you gotta stay the same exact size, the same thing with counter units, because in those situations, going larger can create problems. But like if you're talking about ducts or piping, venting, to that extent, I mean, like, I'll pick on Joe. The code requires you can get away with a 2-inch vent in your house. Joe's not gonna do that. The old school, back years and years ago, it was a 3-inch. That's what Joe's gonna do. He's not gonna do a 2-inch. Now, should he be penalized for that? No.
I guess bottom line is this is gonna directly impact a lot of people. And in short, I'm asking for a letter of support. I'm being told by political people in the county that I have talked with, not any of you, but so-called political people, that I'm beating my head against a wall with big money. That may be the case. But it's worth a try to have this bill changed, because I think it's going to negatively impact a lot of people. And it's going to create, like Edgar told me when I first heard about this bill, it's going to create more work for me, because when that happens, they're not going to call that person back when they have problems that has made shortcuts because of no permitting. They're going to call somebody else. They may not call me, they may call someone out of the high street, but irregardless, it's going to create more work, and people are going to have to pay twice for what should have been done correctly the first time, and I'm not in for that. I don't want to do it, and I don't want to see any of my customers do it.
So all of this, none of this was, what was the threshold? It's $15,000 now. Was there a threshold before? 5,000. And basically had most of the same requirements.
Like I said, it was, they didn't have anything about decks. If you did anything on a deck, you had to get a permit. Basically, the only thing that didn't require a permit was like they call cosmetic, painting, windows, shingles, vinyl siding. Like I said, anytime you went past a trap or did anything electrical, you had to get a permit.
So this is all for renovation, not new construction.
Right, if you're doing all new construction, then you don't have a design there to begin with, it didn't affect that area. You still gotta get a permit for that. Like I said, what is mainly affecting it is renovations, where you've got an existing house and you're going in and changing things, or upgrading things.
I guess my point is, a lot of people can't afford to build a new house. We're still in poor economic times right now. I think all of you will agree with that. And a lot of young couples with children are buying older homes at a low price and saying, okay, we'll spend a little money here this year and a little money here next year until we can get this house up to speed, rather than sustaining a mortgage of $250,000 of dollars, which they cannot afford. So they are choosing to remodel a lot of mobile homes, modulars, and homes and home places of parents and grandparents in lieu of building a new house. And that being said, they're trying to do it in phases, and with this type of bill, I'm allowed to go in and, as well as other contractors, other tradesmen, and do work on these properties without a permit. Not to mention the people that have a home already paid for, and they just want to renovate that property. And it could be rental, it could be their own property. So it's going to affect a wide range of people, not just new home buyers. So, in short, I'm asking, and I know I'm taking a lot of your time, and I'm asking for a letter of support. along with me, I have, at the bottom of my letter, I have several senators and congressmen that I have mailed this letter to. Now, my daughter proofread my letter, and you'll note a little bit of emotion in there, and I apologize for the last paragraph or two. But when I start writing, especially something that I'm very passionate about, I let my emotions get the best of me, and she kind of checks me, keeps me in check in that arena. So that was probably a good thing. She softened it some from what you're reading right now. So thank you again. Thank you again for allowing me to speak before you, and I certainly hope that you'll support me in my efforts in trying to get this bill changed. I know it's not going to happen overnight. We're in an election year. I realize that. And I'm prepared to send this same letter to new senators, if there are new senators that come on board, and try and get this changed for the benefit of in the county and in the state. Thank you.
Okay, I have one more question.
Yes,
Go
ma'am.
ahead.
Just one suggestion. You're not waiting for Commissioner support letter to send your letter, are you?
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
I
sir.
would recommend that you CC the county commissioners on the letter.
I'm not hearing, I
And I
apologize.
recommend that you CC the county commissioners.
I believe he's already
Yes.
sent this letter, and this is your copy, correct?
Yes, sir.
This has one. Okay.
That's
All right. I didn't know if you had all this thing.
Okay, well, when you were talking about, of course, you were a plumber and talking about plumbing, does this affect electrical work as well?
Yes.
Okay, for renovations?
Yeah,
Yeah, for renovations.
yeah, it's a little bit different wording, but electrical had its own quirks. Basically, if you weren't running new circuits, you didn't need a permit. On the mechanical, if you were replacing, like I said, same size for same size, you no longer need a permit.
It affects many trades, and we have one electrician in the room, and I have a lot of respect for him and his work, and I feel like he's gonna do like I am gonna do. We're gonna do the right thing when we come to your home. Unfortunately, some are not, but I can vouch for him and myself. Irregardless of it, a second set of eyes is going to look at it or not. When I come to your home, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I grant you that. I can't speak for everybody else. And that's one reason I'm so passionate about getting this bill changed, because I can see problems on the horizon.
Well, thank you, Mr. Delton, and thank you for working here in the county. I know I've used you, and you certainly did nice work. What you,
Well, I think, Madam Chairman, I would suggest that, we do discuss this and have opportunity to look over the letter and make a decision at a later date.
Thank you, sir.
look, yeah, I think we need to table it so we can discuss it and also do some research.
All right.
Okay, thank you, and we'll get back with you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, when I go to the old business, first one is the Sprayfield update with Mike McAllister.
Good morning. First, let me thank you for accommodating the schedule. England this morning had to run quite a bit, and I had to run the thing meeting right after this. County update, showing where things are. I think we have the majority of the permits except the main permit we need for the Sprayfield. I walked the site with the regional engineer about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He didn't find any real problems with what we had done. So he sent his comments up to Raleigh, and I'm waiting on the review from Raleigh. On the funding side, we finally did get the time extension from EDA. It took, because they're going to Washington to get that, but they finally came through with that. And I have not heard anything else out of Golden League, some of the others that were kind of excited about that. So hopefully that'll calm down. My only concern right now is, of course, getting into next year. We're seeing construction prices go up, and of course with the storm, again, construction prices are going up. that's my biggest worry about at this point in time. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
So you said we have all the permits except the main one?
Except the main one we need, which is the authorization to construct the spray from the state.
So we haven't started on any grading or any site.
We can't do anything until we get that last permit.
Do you have any projections on that? When you'll start putting in that deal?
I'm hoping to have that permit in hand. I don't know what comments they may come back with. Last time I talked with the state, and this was a month ago, he said he would start reviewing it in 3 or 4 weeks. Whether or not he started that process, I do not know. But as soon as I have that, answer his comments, have permits in hand, it has to go back to EDA for their approval. And if I can get Asa Williams to move that ahead, we'll probably got bids as soon as we get his approval.
You anticipate maybe by spring?
I sure hope so, Mr. Jordan. This thing's been a long, arduous process.
And if you start, let's just hypothetical. If you do get started, let's say in April, how long do you think it's going to take to do it?
It's going to take 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9. And then EDA is going to have to come back in and certify it.
They'll come back in and do their, we have to send reports to all the funding agencies.
So we're potentially looking at the end of 2017, probably at the earliest.
Or to be complete. Now, I think we had approval through EDA to get their funding through September 2017. What we'll do is we'll spend their money first. So that's the way to get around it. As a matter of fact, the old rule stuff money, that had to be last, that $700,000 pot had to be last, be spent anyway.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I'm trying to think of coming and trying to get a handle on, what to expect. I know that, you're probably working as hard as you can, trying to get it moving. But we'd like to know, what's in sight as far as potential completion.
I keep waiting for it. To be honest with you, things have moved awful slow at DEQ in that particular office. As reviews these plans, we've got quite a problem with a lot of stuff out there left in. It's not the under the personnel as supervisor in this section. So we're trying to work with that.
I know you will kind of keep pushing,
Yes,
reminding them.
I will do that.
And if you need anything from us, we don't hesitate. I can have maybe support letter or call.
I will certainly do that. I've been in touch regularly with the regional office, and they're very aware of the problem. I've had to want to make them aware of it. So they're interested in seeing this project move forward as well. All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip.
Thanks.
Okay, we're moving on to, the other item of old business, and that's the vote on the schedule of values. All of you know that we have been in the process of reevaluating property here in Kane. Mrs. McGinnis is here, and Mrs. Lane, would you?
Good morning, everybody. That is correct. On the 25th of October, we were scheduled for a public hearing on the scheduled values. That went relatively good. We had a few turnout of citizens, some questions, and a brief overview of the schedule and what it would entail. We, looked at the land, the building, various rates that were going to be changed within the schedule, and that is a standard, more or less, that will be in place for the next 8 years. There were some new additions, the solar, the cell tower sites that we also discussed. So at that time, if there were no issues, if you will, today we come before you and ask that if commissioners would please adopt the schedule, 2017 schedule of values.
Okay, we had a special meeting last week, I believe, and a public meeting, and we were, do you want to mention any of the numbers? You saw a decrease in land?
We did, yes, ma'am. At that public hearing, we discussed the overall values that were going down within the county, 8 to 10% overall with some land rates that were moving down. Some other things are going to be added, cell tower sites that we mentioned, solar farms that will be very brand new to us overall. And I did want to point out again that even though generally we may see a decrease countywide, individual properties may or may not go up 10 or 12% based on, your particular dwelling, any improvements or anything unique to your property. During the reappraisal, we have a chance to visit all the property in the county, make corrections with regard to quality grade, with dwellings, things of that nature. So while the county may see an overall decrease, I don't want the public to get disillusioned maybe or a misinterpretation that their property will go down. Most likely it may, but it may not. We may have had a chance to visit that property and had a grade or a change of code, if you will, for dwelling. So I just wanted to kind of remind everybody of that, which we touched on that night at the public hearing, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the schedule of values presented by the firm that we had hired to do the reevaluation.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this schedule of values for reappraisal for the year 2017.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. And this will be the schedule of values for the next 8 years.
It is in place for that duration. All the land, all the building rates will be in place for that, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord, thank you.
Okay, we'll go back now up to administrative reports, starting with our county manager.
This is for September 23rd through October the 19th. As you just heard, Michael Callis would say DPD has approved the request for an extension, and that is until September 4th of 2017. For the historic courthouse, WJE has received the bricks and testing has begun, and I do not have a further update. During the report period, I've handled 9 calls and had meetings related to zoning maps and special use permits as related to the planning department. And due to lack of business, the Board of Adjustment and Planning Board did not meet in October. On September 26th, I attended the Housing Committee to provide an update on the essential single-family rehabilitation loan program 2016. On September 28th, the Albemarle Regional Planning Organization met at COA in Elizabeth City. There are 2 committees that meet on that day at different times. Both committees prioritize road projects for the upcoming year. Gates County only had 1 project on the list, which was the widening of the shoulders of Highway 158 across the swamp. Gates County had 1 vote, and I used that vote to approve that project. On October 5th, the Control Group of Emergencies met to discuss plans for Hurricane Matthew. Then again, on October 7th, the same group met to discuss plans for Hurricane Matthew and prepare a state of emergency declaration. And that evening, I represented Gates County at the retirement dinner for former Sheriff Ed Webb. On October 14th, the control group met briefly for a debriefing, and a more detailed debriefing with all involved will be scheduled at a later date. FSA hosted a meeting with state and national representatives on the 14th to discuss the agricultural situation following Hurricane Matthew. Farmers are encouraged to visit FSA to report all damage. For activities during Hurricane Matthew, beginning Saturday, October 8th, I was able to listen to EOC activities via Viper Radio. On October the 9th, I placed the first of many code red calls to citizens regarding the bowl advisory, and I monitored EOC via Viper and phone calls with Billy Wynn. Following a brief visit to the administrative offices on Monday, October the 10th, I reported to EOC as requested. And I worked with at EOC until Friday, October 14th, assisting where needed, mainly answering phones, posting updates, and answering questions via social media. And I do have some additional comments regarding the hurricane. First, on behalf of the county, and Billy Wynn would also like to express his thank you to everyone that assisted during the hurricane. There were numerous county and state employees as well as volunteers that went above and beyond their job description to ensure people's safety during the storm. And without all their dedicated hard work, a lot of what took place could not have happened, so we do sincerely appreciate that. Just some general comments that I would like to make. I know that there have been situations lately where people have had problems with staff, county staff, and I hear about it after the fact. I would like all the citizens to know that it's my responsibility from the day-to-day operation of the county, including addressing any issues with staff. And it's more productive to have these discussions in my office instead of in public meetings or out on the street. And there are some issues that are related to personnel matters that cannot be discussed. Would you like for me to provide you with the elections discussion at this point in time, or would you like to have that at a later time?
I think that's probably better at a later time.
And so I'd like to add too, just in addition to county manager, and that is all the recognition for individuals, and I've spoken with county manager and Billy Lynn specifically about some rescue efforts that were made by folks going over and beyond, and the sheriff's aware of those as well, but I just wanted to be sure that we put that in our minutes. Thank you.
As I've said, it's probably like the best in most people, pull together, helping your neighbors and helping the community. Any questions for the county manager?
Yes. Let's go back to section 28. Where the 158 highway project was discussed, the widening of the shoulder. It was my thoughts or understanding that that section would be widened to 4 lane. So, in widening the shoulders, is that going to include 4 lanes, or is this? I mean, it just seems like double work, doesn't it?
There are no plans to 4-lane that at this time because of the. I cannot explain it. I can sit in the meeting and understand, but Angela Welch can come and explain in greater detail. The way that Gretchen Byron, the way that the state now allocates money and they plan for the roads is called SPOT system. And whenever they go through and prioritize projects, the 4-laning has been taken out. There's not money in the project for that, so that is not on that table. They have a pot of money at the state that they use spot scoring for, and you have to score a certain score in order to be considered for state funding. There were very few projects in the northeastern part, in the 10 counties in the Albemarle area, that were even considered for state. So then it goes down to District 1 money. So that was some of the money that we were looking at what we could do and what we could utilize that money for. District 1 covers not just the 10 counties in the Albemarle Council on Government, but it also includes Mideast Commission and Northampton, and I believe Halifax as well. So there's a lot of counties that are covered in District 1. So once that pot of money is gone, then you look at the region, then you look at a smaller pot of money. So the Gates County project is one of the smaller pots of money that was available for selection. And because that was the only Gates County project, that's why I voted to widen the shoulders. Otherwise, I'd had to have given my vote to a county somewhere else.
I attended all these comprehensive transportation plans last year, and that not only took care of the immediate needs that we have in the area, but it also was discussed in the long-range 30-year program, 30-year plan. And at this time, there's nothing in the 30-year projection for 4-lane and 158.
Now, all the money's going to go to doing work on 17 to make that interstate ready.
I know initially they were supposed to have a bypass around Sunbury.
They had meetings and
So all of that now basically is
gone.
Correct. I have even been told that if the new spot scoring had taken place in prior years, 158 would not have even been widened. There was also no plans to widen 4-lane 13 going to Virginia, because that has been pushed down, and when I say pushed down, I mean pushed down the list. But also, from what we have understood from Virginia, Virginia has no plans to 4-lane 13 coming south to North Carolina.
going to be good for a lot of our citizens to know because some are concerned about losing road frontage property. I've gotten calls and inquiries from the citizens about that. So I think it's safe to say now that in the foreseeable future, we don't see that happen.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think that was important, if I may interrupt, Madam Chairman, that what Commissioner Felton said about a 30-year plan, and if I'm not mistaken, the meetings that I've sat into, there's a 6-year plan and what have you, none of that has been brought up for any.
No, it's just, the money's just not there. Okay, finance and taxes. Popular person today.
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. All right, hello again. I just want to touch on the 2016 tax notices. Since last Friday, with Keystone's interaction, we have resolved at least 3 critical issues. Keystone staff is on site today to facilitate any other, I'll say, procedures or any other issues. We hope to have those mailed very soon. We anticipate getting that plat file to South Data, and they can get that. And of course, Keystone will have opportunity in closed session today later on. So I just wanted to mention that. Yes.
And do we have a date for tax notices going on?
Well, yes, ma'am. If we get that plat file on the vendor South Data on the 7th or 8th, Tuesday the 8th, they should be mailed out that, well, Veterans Day naturally is that Friday on the 11th. Barring any other issues with Keystone and discussions today, we hope, to have those mailed by that Friday, that Saturday.
Yeah, because time is ticking.
Oh, yes, that's right, and that's another concern. People said, due January 5th, there would be some concessions. We, naturally interest would occur. We would have the ability, in light of the extreme delay, to, I'll say, waive any interest. So, as tax administrator, accept full responsibility of all the tasks being complete. So with that in mind, that's just something, realize the hour. We had a lot of prepayments. Those people who usually pay naturally have already sent money, and some others, waiting the notice and the prepayment event occurs. But I agree, Ms. Hoffman, I do.
I can't believe I'm asking for my tax bill.
Well, that is true, yes. I just wanted to mention that, it's going to be very high. I can't imagine hitting that button and getting them out here, believe me, I would welcome that.
How does the tax notices affect that levy for 2016? I only see $3,081.79.
At the very top, Commissioner Jordan, where it says with the real and all those items, that will appear in the budget. At the very top of that tax collector's report, yes, sir.
This is what happened.
At the very top of that tax collector's report, where it says real with the GL added, as well as for 2016, that new line item will appear for that as well. So
Rather than the 33,000, then we'll get the 5 million or something or whatever.
yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is correct. So that will appear in accordance with the year and everything. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
No questions. I'd like to make a comment about when the tax bills come out, just something to chew on, and as a thought maybe for the future commissioners and tax administrator, and that is any incentive that it is to pay the bill all together, or those that may not be as financially able, maybe set them up a payment every 3 months. Then we would have monies trickling in. I don't know if you considered that or thought of that, and how that would match with our finance officer.
Yes, we do actually. We do have those plans in place for people, particularly with the senior citizens or anybody who may be on a limited income. They'll set up a $50 or $100 payment in light of that as a prepayment. It'll apply accordingly. So in essence, we have several in the county that are already paid. I mean, they want that money to be applied on any future accounts or any personal property, that they do have. So we do have that. That's a good idea. A lot of counties have utilized that and kind of offset that rash, turnout, or so the money is there coming in, so, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions on the,
That's two properties that were in foreclosure. Were there any upset bids?
no, ma'am, the Sarah and Jeff Turner did receive the Allen Ansky property or so that was auctioned. There were a lot of questions about it, but at that final 5 o'clock hour, there were no upset bids, and the final sale price was a little over $11,883. However, we have additional fees, publication, and 16 taxes, so. And the Bobby Riddick property, naturally, there was also no upset bids, so there'll be some technical legal issues the first of the year with Mr. Bardell and TLS. That one property, the Gates County was the highest bidder in the Bobby Riddick property, the half-acre undeveloped site.
So now, we own, Gates County owns that property.
And yes, and you'll have opportunity to loop that into any surplus. There'll be a couple of different methods that the county has available with surplus property or whatnot.
So what's the best way to dispose of it now? We've already gone through the foreclosure process, bidding, because, we're not in the business of holding properties.
Oh, yes.
And so, we want to get rid of it. So what is the process now we're going to use?
Well, the next step is contact the local real estate. We do have a few adjoining property owners in that area that may be interested. That would be the first item of exposure. Get that on the MLS list and, see if there's any feedback with that as well. If nothing, then the county will, he will be drawn up for Gates County at that time. It'll be actually, obviously exempt. There'll be no abstract created because the county owns it, if you will. So there are a couple avenues initially, Mr. Jordan, with exposure to real estate. The only thing, it is not the most desirable lot, naturally, with the location. So that is a hindrance in and of itself, with the half acre and the location.
Maybe one of the property owners would do it nice since it's not in foreclosure.
That is true, that is.
We got a minimum deal on that property, what, 20?
It was 2006, 82, and I believe some change.
All right. Just for the sake of discussion, adjoining property owners or whatever. If someone came in and said, okay, I'll give you $3,000 for it, although that may not cover all of our legal fees, don't we, as a board, or do we have the authorization to take what is offered once that property is tendered over to us?
Yes, sir. The board would have that luxury if they choose. They could waive any penalties or release, if you will, any additional penalties or interest or cumulative. Because that is where the tax bill usually is about a little over $101 a year. So that 16 bill, if we imagine that. But the interest and penalties certainly is what's added. The board does have that luxury of waiving any of that, much like they do if they desire. So.
I'd like to see us be a little aggressive and get rid of that, because, we're getting too much county property.
I agree, yeah.
I think out of 158, I think we still got a little spot out there. Never done anything with it. And, if we can get some of the money, it's going to be better than just holding on the books and not going out taxpayers any good.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see us be a little bit aggressive and look at all avenues and dispose of that property as much as possible, even if it's advertising, through Facebook or whatever. So,
Yes, I agree, yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
Okay.
I noticed you did an assessment on the damage after Hurricane Matthew.
Yes, I sent that out of any additional reports that were sent to county manager and Billy Wynn, emergency management coordinator. Just as an overview of, I'll obviously my week with Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Colon out visiting property. So sent you some totals and the property we actually visited.
Was that for FEMA or any special use of that? You know, just kind of,
Yes, sir, that initially was my involvement as part of the damage assessment team with regard to the appraisal, the actual dwellings affected, if you will, and into the first of the year. If those repairs or those conditions are not corrected, if you will, first of the year, I kind of associated those in my new construction batch. For example, if we have a detached garage that suffered extreme flood damage, and we did have that in some cases, I need to make a note of that during the new construction or my field visit for the spring. So that is going to affect value, for future billing. So that was part of my interaction with the damage assessment team and moving forward.
Thank you so much. All departments. Okay, moving down to correspondence. We do have a invitation extended to the Board of Commissioners to participate in the Christmas parade on December 10th, 2016 at 3 p.m. to make you aware of that. So that is December 10th at 3 p.m. the annual Christmas parade here in Gatesville. But generally, some of us will participate as county commissioners. And also the public, remember that, put that date on their calendar, December 10th at 3 o'clock here in Gatesville.
Chairman, could we go back just for a second to the departments?
Which department?
The customer service. I'm sure many of you, fellow commissioners, have citizens to comment to us. We lost water for a week, and some of the citizens had comments that, if we were in that, citizens of Gates County were in that situation, what kind of leniency would be considered in going forward with our bills? Certainly, I'm not advocating that we have some type of reduction of bills during that period, but I certainly would agree that maybe during this time that we would consider not doing cutoffs for the next month or something. It looks like that we, as soon as we got water back on, we started implementing the policy, cutting more off. I mean, the county manager and the director we've given them the authority to look over the delinquent accounts, possibly make considerations, at the discretion as long as that's reasonable. So I think it's something to think about, until we get back on our feet and get things running smoothly again.
Can you please clarify what you mean, get back on our feet and get running, because everyone's bowl advisory was lifted over a week ago.
The board advisor was listed. We've been back online for maybe a couple of weeks. I'm thinking maybe have to go back online for a month or so to then, we would go back and implement the policy in full. But, I'm just saying that you get your water cut back on 1 week, and then the next week it's cut off because you got a delinquent account. It's just consideration. And I think that, we have the latitude to make that. We were in a tough situation. I know, in the past we said that some accounts are habitual, but certainly I think that, as leaders of the county, when we're in situations like that, we can make adjustments. And once we are back on our feet, let's say after a whole month, not 2 or 3 weeks, certainly after month, then we'll go back and pull implementation. But I just want to make that comment so that our staff be aware that, you know, these are things that comes to the commissioner, at least to me. I don't know, maybe I get more phone calls than anybody else. But, and I do agree that this was an unusual situation, but certainly we have the latitude to make adjustments to try to show some compassion and consideration for our citizens of the county.
Mrs. Hendricks.
And customer service will take this into consideration. I was mapping the water process. Valves being turned off, areas being released. And the area that was without water, because there were several areas in the county that did not have water. Those areas when we started doing disconnects on the 27th, we removed those. We did not affect those at all. So that was already taken into consideration by Microsoft.
Also, the water bill that we got, the water bill we get is not for the water in October.
The water bill that will be affected for the month of October when Matthew affected us, you will not be billed for that until December.
And you will, if you have not consumed water, your bill will be lower.
Exactly. People are asking if there's going to be a discount. Your bill is based upon usage. So therefore, if you didn't have water for a week, your usage is going to be less. But, and that's what we're explaining to people.
Yeah, but you have a base cost. You have
Yes, you
usage
do.
costs, and you have.
You have that $10 minimum on the water. That's it for that first 1,000 gallons. Yeah.
But I'm glad you said that, but we do have some time to take those things into investments.
And we did.
And I did get a phone call that one of our citizens had his water cut off. Of course, thanks to the county manager, I think she was able to rectify that situation or make investments for it. Thought that was a little unusual, but anyway, keep those things in mind. We expect our citizens to pay the bill on time, but at the same time, when we're in a situation where we can't provide a service, certainly we make investments for those happens.
And I would like to say, I had called him before I left, and I will use his name, because I think it was the one you were speaking of, or right after he came, said he wasn't feeling well today, he wasn't going to be here, but he wanted to know that he had received his bill, he had found it, he had found it, and he wanted to apologize, that it was his fault that he had mislaid it. And so he wanted to extend an apology to you and to Mrs. Franklin.
This is, if I can just inject a little something else, I certainly appreciate you looking after our citizens in such a manner. Do we have a policy or anything that's instituted, maybe within your department, to cover that, just in the event that not all of us are eliminated at some point in time, so it will stand forever for our citizens?
It's gonna,
Well, we revisit that, but I mean, in an emergency situation such as Matthew.
Such as Matthew, we have it in discretion, but there's nothing in our policy that says a state of emergency, hurricanes, inclement weather, whatever. We do not have that enforced in our policy. It just leaves the discretion up to the department.
Right. And we went over a couple of months ago.
Exactly.
Should we even think about that for future events? I know.
When you start listening, though, sometimes it's hard, you don't think of everything.
That's true.
But it's something maybe we could put on the thing like.
Because you covered it, but 40 years from now, you may not be here.
You don't want to be in customer service, but you want people to still be right.
we had an example in that policy. Did we put an example in there? We just said in certain discretion.
In discretion, right.
And I think, I'm one, common sense means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really do. Common sense means a lot.
Yeah, what I was telling Mr. Gordon, I need a good number off, we don't have to limit them. So we cover this one, we won't cover that one, just use more common sense.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, now we come to public hearings. Do I entertain a motion to go into public hearing? Do I have a motion been made and seconded to enter into a public hearing? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, first one is the Community Transportation Program application. And she would like to give us paperwork to read. Thank you. I think.
This transportation grant application is actually the same one we do annually. It encompasses the administrative costs for transportation system, be it the administrative staff, office expenses for vehicle insurance and those sorts of funds. There's not a lot of change. The only change from last fiscal year to this fiscal year is for this year we have a part-time position was added into the grant.
Okay, and this is the same grant we do every year, and you just need our approval. Okay, cut into the checks. Do I have a motion to approve this grant?
So moved.
Sorry.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to say we discussed this at the Albemarle Health the other night. We also have that there, and I don't know if you submitted to them, Patrice, or if this comes through them, but I want you to be aware of that. So, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
This was a public hearing.
Yes.
We
Oh, okay, we got to do that after we come out of public hearing. I apologize, I was,
make a motion to go to public hearing.
no, we did that. We got to vote after we come out of public hearing. That's the problem. Thank you, Patrice.
Did she explain, did you have a question? Because she has two of them.
Okay, second one. Okay, oh, yes. The enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities.
That's the grant that we've had for the last couple of years. We do a current service usually. These seniors will do a enhanced service, we'll do a door-to-door service. In the past, what we've done is we've done medical visits that don't meet with our schedule. We put down grocery store trips. This year, we're adding check cashing. We want someone to get check cashing, building, and laundromat trips.
And how many people do you have involved in this?
I mean,
Clients?
everybody, we probably have about 60 seniors that
Wonderful.
I know last week, we didn't even have enough people. If she didn't have enough invitation, then she ran Miss Adele.
Does anyone have any questions? And this is also a grant that we've had for a number of years.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just making an observation. I noticed that this grant, that local funding is provided through other agencies, other means.
It's funding that the match for issues through road grant and things that we get. And we just try to make sure that we can have additional trips. And additional trips that we already utilize, some of them need additional service.
And the HCCDG is home.
Community blocking.
And that's great that you can get funds for our match part of it. And thank you for that. We should have well this and I will come out of public hearing. So we will. And I think your voice is better.
Trying to work on being a character.
Is there anything else? No. Okay. Well, thank you.
And I know, come out,
then we can do the solar. Okay, a motion's been made to come out of the public hearing to deal with, the two grants for GITS. Do I have a second?
Second that motion.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay, the first one, for consideration is the Community Transportation Program application for, the budget year 2018. Do I have a motion to, approve this?
So moved. Third.
Motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. So that one is approved. Now, for second, I'll entertain a motion for the enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disability. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities grant, say aye. Aye. All opposed? They are both approved. Now I will entertain a motion to go into public hearing to deal with the solar farm text amendments.
So moved.
Okay. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we're in the public hearing for the solar farm text amendment. We had no planner, so I'll turn it to the county manager.
Before you was the solar text amendment, the only change that had been made for commissioners between when the planning board reviewed it. And this time is one sentence had been added to section, it's on the second page, under D, which is J, performance guarantee. Letter B, the guarantee shall not be reduced by the salvage value. Otherwise, everything remain. And I did not receive any written comments before this meeting.
Okay, do we have any public comments about the solar ordinance? Okay, Aaron? If you would state your name, please.
My name is Aaron York. The rest of everybody's eyes are rolling back in their heads. Speak now, forever hold your peace. I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for the chance to speak. Thank everyone for the due diligence they've given to this process. I think it has certainly been given. It's all sides have been heard. I don't want to get into any kind of debate of any kind. I was just looking over the final copy and I noticed a couple of small things that I think if you so wish should be brought to a quick vote. I welcome the planning board members that are here to speak to it. These are things that I have mentioned before to the commissioners, and I think to the board perhaps out of public meetings, so it may have been overlooked, or perhaps they discussed it and decided against it. But I will bring them up for you now. If you look into the section on screening,
If you could give us a minute,
yes, ma'am. It's at the top of the next to last page, screening. Okay, under 2D, where it starts the evergreen vegetative buffer, if you go to the very last sentence, where it says, shall be no less than 15 feet tall, this is speaking at maturity. This screening shall be no less than 15 feet tall, regardless of line of sight. After 15 feet tall, I would like to add and touching, just to emphasize, because you can purchase plants that stay narrow their entire lives, and even if they get tall, they would never reach out and produce a true screen. It's just a matter of a loophole, putting the word in there, if you would be accepting of that.
okay, now how would it read then?
It would read, the very last sentence, 2D, at maturity, required vegetative screening shall be no less than 15 feet tall and touching, regardless of line of sight. So 2 words. And it just ensures you get that width as well as that height.
And while we're addressing that, and the members of the planning board, did that come up as any discussion, or do you recall? So no objections, no comments?
The thicker the blood for a lot, so.
Yeah.
What for sure.
Okay, the next change is, let's see, flip to it'll be the third page. Let's see, letter F, lot size and setbacks. And under 2, where it talks about the minimum setback distance, what I would like to add, and again, I have mentioned it, I know before the commissioners in passing to the planning board, that it be added to place the fence that is required at the setback line. As it is worded, the setback is to the panels, but the fence is required by electrical code. It is part of the solar farm in its entirety. And I can even cite for you, Washington County reworded theirs. During this time we've been in moratorium, they reworded theirs and added that verbiage. While I'm here, at the risk of eyes rolling, I will add that Washington County also went from 100 to 300 foot on that setback line. I'll make those 2 suggestions to change that line.
Okay, now how would you, the first,
Okay, so F2, like I said, I can hand you Washington County's how they worded it, but you could say a minimum setback distance from all property boundary lines shall be required, and place the fence required to surround the field at the setback line.
In place,
What happened to all solar collectors?
I'm sorry.
in place of the defense, is that?
Yes, and place the fence required to surround the field at the setback line. I will lean on the members as to how you add in, it says all solar collector. If you would take that out, or how you would word that properly, but.
and what did Washington County, how you say?
Well, because there was an amendment, they don't have that whole verbiage in there.
Essentially, what you're saying is that the minimum setback refers to the fence and not the sign.
Correct. A minimum setback from all property boundary lines to the fence that is required to surround the field in any zoning district. Does that sound?
Oh, we're gonna, all right, I'm just gonna ask this question. You gonna say we're gonna 300 foot, and then,
Well, before you talk about feet, just talk about the fence.
okay, the fence, it's gonna be on the boundary line, 300 foot from the boundary line, or at the boundary line?
The fence will be on the boundary line. As it is worded, the boundary line is to the panels. But the fence is outside the panels, the fence is part of the farm. So I would suggest making sure that it says to the fence.
And then I'm gonna say, are we going 150 foot from the fence to the house?
I don't know that there's any regulation between the fence and the panel. I think that is typically however the developer needs for their transportation inside their facility. That is the farm. After it's inside the fence, it's theirs. That's from that point on, electrical code, contractors, licenses. So I'm not speaking to the distance between the fence and the panels. I think that's all up to the contractor, just to the property lines and the fence, which I consider to be the ultimate boundary of the farm, as is required by electrical, North Carolina electrical code.
Okay, so you won't.
I think we kind of left to the discretion of the solar farm companies where to put the fence. It has to be behind the evergreen. If we're requiring them to have the evergreens touching at maturity, then that's going to obscure the fence anyway. So if you put the fence within that 100 foot, and then you've got the solar panels at 100 foot, that's really not going to work very well unless you've got a space between that, because they're going to certainly have to get around that.
Oh yes, it would still allow plenty of room. I believe the screen has a 6-foot distance between the fence and the bushes, and the bushes aren't going to be 300 foot wide anyway, so you still would have plenty of room. I'm just arguing that the fence is part of the farm, it's part of the legal code. So the setback line, just the verbiage, it should say, because in anybody's mind, 100 foot setback or whatever your setback is, it is to that development. That development does not start at the solar collector, that development starts at the fence. You still have plenty of room, and that would be in discretion of the ordinance of not being developed there. And even with all the screening, you're still gonna see it. I've never seen a junkyard or anything, I've mentioned that to y'all before, where the vegetative buffer truly blocks the view. So that is why I want to make sure that if that's the setback they want to deal with, that it does include all parts of the solar farm, which starts with the fence.
Again, I'd like to address the planning board members who are present on those issues. If you discuss the 300-foot versus the fence to surround the field with setback line.
We discussed it and we just came up with that 100-foot number. Oh, I have no problem with 300 foot. I don't think anybody will have that part of it. Y'all said, good children.
I'm just kind of, I need the verbiage to be right.
What I typed, and you can let me know if this makes sense once I read it out loud. A minimum setback distance from all property lines shall be required, and the fence is required to it. The fence will be required to surround the field at the setback line, which shall be whatever feet in any zoning district.
I think that's fairly drastic modification at this point.
Now, adding the fence itself, I mean, is not a, like I said, feet is a different thing, I dare to bring that up, but adding the fence is not a drastic, and you have the verbiage there from Washington County over there. They've made that move and cited county concerns and increasing facilities and impacts to local communities, health, safety, and welfare, and that is why they made that change. So I feel that while we have a chance, rather than have to go back again, as Washington County did, we could make that adjustment at this time.
I will make a comment on that. Washington County did go back and amend this. Gates County had been under the moratorium, and I really honestly believe this is probably the best solar ordinance in the state of North Carolina. In my opinion, I think we have gone above and beyond. And I don't see the solar people here kicking about it. I don't think we're gonna stop them from coming here. Not trying to stop them from coming here. We just want to make sure that if they were to abandon the thing, that they're gonna clean it up.
Yes, I know, Mr. Jordan, I can already guess what you're going to say. I know you're in fear that this is too restrictive. I feel like if it was too restrictive, they would have paid 7 people to be on the clock to be at these meetings. None of them are here today. They said they wouldn't come here for this reason or that. They're not here. It was a bluff. They're still going to come. I think this is, for many citizens, this is not restrictive enough. So I think it's a compromise. The board has given a fair listening ear. I have been at meetings where astronomical things, you would fall out on the floor to hear the things that were suggested at some of the meetings, and we came to a good discussion and trying to balance both sides and come up with a number that was reasonable to both sides. So I feel like I said, there's folks on both sides of the fence, and you can see that the developer who we are not serving, I don't think you take an oath to serve the developer, you take an oath to serve the county. They are not here.
The solar panels are going up all over North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
You can drive all over the state and you get to see them. And certainly, the solar companies, they're involved in trying to set up these solar farms in other counties. They're busy people. It's not just Gates County, we're just a small part of the overall picture. I just have concerns that, to make these kind of changes before giving it full consideration. Personally, that seems to be fairly minor. I just would not entertain accepting a 300-foot setback at this time. I'm even concerned about having a fence of 100 foot. screen itself has to be what, how many feet we set the screen back, 6 feet?
6 foot from the fence, yes, sir.
I think this just clarifies about where the fence is.
Yes, the fence is part of the farm. This is not, the fence part is not a major change. Aside from the fence, the fence is not a major change, and I have suggested that before the board many months ago, so there's been plenty of time to think about and discuss before the board of commissioners. It's not something new. I just, last chance to see it, never hold on me, so I just want to put it before you again, because I didn't see it in there.
So we
And
have
it's
100
not a
foot,
major change, just to the fence. The fence is part of the farm.
so we have 100 foot setback. And the fence starts at 100 foot.
Yes, sir.
And put the screen 6 foot in front of that.
Yes, sir.
So basically, you're gonna have about 90 plus feet of open space all around. Well, what's the difference in that? I mean, if you're gonna be able to put the panels at 100 foot. So what you're saying is that they could come to the road and put the fence 10 feet from the road?
Yes, sir.
And just like they didn't even do that at Sugar Run and 158.
Well,
The
the panels
fence.
are not set back 100 foot. The panels are probably 30 feet from the road.
Well, I mean, the fence is on the ditch bank,
Yeah, well, it's on the property, basically.
but you can't keep it mowed, you can't do a lot of things.
Yeah, but the panel, the solar panels are also not within 100 foot. The solar panels are right up the well, so we didn't have that restriction where the solar panels had to be back 100 feet.
No.
Now, you read that statement again
Well,
concerning the setback.
Is that number 2?
Yeah.
number 2, but I was trying to rewrite it to make it sound better, so, and I didn't succeed. Maybe a lot better than Melissa. And you could say, minimum setback distance is required in any zoning distance of, 100 feet from all property boundary lines, including the fence. I think that's it.
I have to say this, I serve on some committees with all commissioners, and there is not one commissioner who has told me that they would want to make theirs more lenient, they needed to make it more restrictive because of just the way things have shaken out. And you can see it, for example, here with Washington County, I didn't even know Washington County had changed theirs. But that is pretty typical of what you're seeing throughout the state, that counties are trying to close some loopholes that exist. So we need to try to make sure we try to get it right.
Okay, does this make more sense? The fence, which is required by law, shall meet the minimum setback distance of 100 feet from all property boundary lines in any zoning district. Keep it simple.
I like some. Okay.
Is that in the code?
Now, the only one other phrase might be necessary, might be warranted in there, just so somebody doesn't come up and try to nitpick. You can say the fence, which encloses all solar panels, shall be located.
The required fencing, which encloses all, because it is required within our ordinances, but also by electrical code.
And are we still talking about 300 feet and 100 feet as well too, or have we addressed that?
I've said it now, I brought it up, so it's out there.
Do you have a comment?
Like I said, it's up to your vote. It's out there.
Planning board, 300 feet versus 100 feet, do y'all discuss that?
I go with the fence, but I can't.
Like I said, that one portion, I know I brought it up to a few members outside of their meeting, so it may have fallen through the cracks, but I do cite Washington County. It's not an arbitrary number, it's good evidence of another county that has put this into place with their cited reasons for protecting the county due to increasing facilities and impacting the community.
Washington County, can you pass that?
And yes, and one thing that I did notice in Washington County on that 300-foot area too is it said residential, specifically residential and not all properties. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it clarifies residential versus commercial.
And that's the thing, see, you know, we're throwing a lot here at us that we're not. You know, it's hard to make decisions like this. We want to accept the policy and not look at all the.
I understand, which is why I brought you the words, and like I say, vote on it,
Well, I don't think it's a vote on that, I think it's.
or don't bring it to a vote, be done.
What I see this as, well, it's 300 foot or 100 foot, it doesn't really matter. Because what we have done, basically, we cannot limit the size of the farm as far as how much land is like that. But we limit the size of the farm by KWA. If you read in there, KWA is no larger than 15 KW. So they cannot put so many solar panels on a certain piece of property.
Well, you got residential consideration, they were trying to protect those.
So I'm not trying to keep anybody from putting residential.
Well,
I'm talking basically major solar farms.
if it's in a residential area, certainly, 300 feet makes sense. But to try to wordsmith this now to cover all the situations that we're trying to protect is difficult at this point in time when we're voting to accept an ordinance for solar farm decommissioning.
There again, the 15 KW limits the size of the solar. You're not going to put a 15 KW on a residential. You're talking commercial, is what I'm saying. Anything smaller than 15 KW. I mean, for a home, you're probably talking less than 5 KW.
What size is that out on 158 Sugar Run?
I don't know if that, but I almost bet you it's probably not over 15 KW. There's nothing in this area right now that I know of that's over 20.
Okay, anything else, Aaron?
That would be it.
Okay,
Thank you for bringing so much in front of us.
yes.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry, it's, I mean, citizens have a right to speak, and, we want to make the best decisions we can with the most information we can, and we don't want information to limit when we make decisions.
And you've educated us from day one, from North Carolina State.
That's why. Okay, the solar ordinance is before us. There have been some changes, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I did not initially intend on speaking. However, Mr. Jordan did bring up some very good questions about 300 feet. And I'll challenge you with this. How many accidents have you had in the curve of Sugar Run Road?
I mean,
Yes, sir.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm in the Sunbury Fire Department, so I have a working knowledge of how many there are. All of which would have been into the solar farm. The reason that 300 feet versus 100, once that solar farm's charged and it's making power, you can't cut it off. I've been on multiple 18-wheelers that straighten that curve out of Sugar Road, and they would be in the solar panel. At that point, you have an occupant in a vehicle that is energized that I can't touch. We have women and children in vehicles that I can't touch. The panels are leaking cadmium onto our turnout gear, which exposes our first responders to a lethal dose of heavy metal because we didn't make the setback 300 feet. That's why 300 feet would be way better than 100. More is always going to be better when you're dealing with something in the center. There's not a switch there I can cut off. So if somebody's trapped in a vehicle and it's on fire, I can't put wood. I don't have a switch to flip to cut the power off. If I have time and distance is everything with first responders.
And that was the same discussion. I understand what you're saying, but this is a specific situation where it's a curve, it's a hazard. That brings in even another.
It could be anything. Car running 60 miles an hour, ask Deputy Freeman how far I can travel. Even through woods. Sheriff, 100 foot, no problem.
That same situation with planes
The
flying.
same situation can apply anywhere. I'm just using Sugar Run as an example because that's something, an example I can speak with knowledge on. So yes, time and distance is always going to be better for our first responders. Absolutely. And then you run into we're exposed to heavy metals. Well, you haven't drawn blood levels on us, so you don't know if we have cadmium in us already or not. Who's going to take up the turnout to get to this road? You follow? You see what I'm saying? It can snowball into this huge thing where we can make a decision today, 300 feet down, and it's done.
And there again, we need to take a look at it, and we need to make sure that what we're implementing fits all the situations.
Sure.
And I don't feel that at this point in time, this kind of discussion, without considering all different situations, is the time to make those kind of drastic decisions. And I think they are drastic things.
And my next question is, has anybody been down 158 for Murfreesboro?
Sure.
Who's seen that solar farm?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the lack of solar farm, it's just fence and poles now, right? It's just fence and poles now, right?
They took that.
Yes, sir.
And where
That's a decommissioned solar farm.
is that close to, town?
Close to the intersection.
Just before we get them on.
Just before you get Murfreesboro on the left hand side.
So like the one that we
Okay.
Fences and
There's
poles.
a little town close, I can't call it that little town there.
I never say they had a decommissioned.
Mabel.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It certainly enlightened me too, even though I might have been aware of the fact that some things can happen, but a log truck with the logs on it travel pretty good distance.
I've been on multiple accidents in that curve with 18 wheels that have been well into the solar panels and that subconnector that's sitting on that corner. And at that point, I can't cut the power. So what do? I let it burn, or I let the women and kids stay in the car?
But in retrospect too, I understand Commissioner Jordan, I mean, here we are opening another can, if you will.
And I totally get it. The planning board, God bless them, because they have been through it as well as y'all have, and I appreciate everything everybody's done.
I think it's worth noting all the recommended changes.
Sure.
And even if we have to make an amendment, I think that would be the time to do it. Things of this nature, because it really needs to be thought out. Like I said,
Absolutely. I mean,
this discussion has brought out a lot of things.
Sure.
And I appreciate that, but at the same time, I'm not the kind of person, if you throw a whole lot of things at one time,
Sure,
they sound.
and I understand. And the thing about Kenny Habul, and he's not here today to defend himself, so he was talking about how cost prohibitive it was going to be for him to do this, the bond. I don't know if any of y'all watch racing or not. NASCAR race teams cost between $10 and $35 million a year to sponsor. Mr. Habul, that is cost prohibitive for him to spend money in Gates County, sponsored the race team for a year to the tune of about $100 million. So it's only cost prohibitive if he doesn't want to do it. He could pay for Gates for Central Middle School, and it would never be a bump on the radar. So he chooses not to. It's not that he can't.
You brought up a very good point too. It's been talked about in the opposite direction here several times when we were trying to get a decommissioning plan with a little bit of teeth in it. The talking heads come in here and no, we're not going to decommission anything. These will last forever. And that proves it.
158, right down there the day when you leave here. It's fences and sticks, that's all.
Why was it decommissioned?
I couldn't tell you. But obviously, Commissioner Jordan, they didn't have a decommissioning plan because they still got fences, and they still got poles. They just don't have solar panels.
And I bet that's why it's going to.
Yep. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information as well, and the insight. And as Commissioner Jordan says, other things to think about, of course, like I said, I hadn't thought about 300 feet until Eric mentioned it. And then, as you're bringing up an automobile accident, a truck accident, 300 feet, not a big distance. However, on the other side, there may not be anything but a path leading to a residential area. And would we need 300 feet there? Is that something that we need to address? That's why I was leaning back towards Commissioner Jordan, is that thinking about that, is that all the way around, should there be 300 feet on a major highway, and then
Okay, we have a lot to, report. I think I heard my commissioners, the other commissioners talk about, had no problem with adding the word "in touching" under screening on G, to be about the touching of the vegetation. There's no debate for that.
No, sir.
Okay, so, we got that added in. Okay, now we come back to F, lot size and setbacks. Aaron talked about first, like the placement of the fence. Is there any problem with writing that portion and to make it the, setback, you know, that the fence be placed 100 feet back from the property line?
Each place that is setback, whatever the
Setback,
Whatever
okay,
setback.
the fence will be placed at the setback line. Is
Just
there
right.
any problem with the 100 feet?
Just around the field, setback line. No problem from listening to the field.
You mentioned 100 feet, and that's the field, that's the third one.
Okay, I mean, if that's, you know, the setback, the fence would be at the setback line.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there any problem with the fence being placed at the setback line?
Not whatsoever. Not-
Okay, the third question we have is, where is the setback line? Is it going to be 100 feet, 300 feet, 200 feet? You know, it could be wherever.
I think that's an item that we need to discuss and maybe have a minute proposal for that. Once we look at all of the potential ramifications associated with that.
But certainly on a major highway or a highway, because
Okay, so there is some disagreement about how much of a setback it should be. I mean, everybody agrees 100 feet, but this, increasing the setback, is there disagreement?
Well, I don't see there's no disagreement. I think it's a matter
Well,
that needs to be.
difference of opinion.
And
Let's put it that way. A difference of opinion. Mr. Bell?
I'd like to go ahead and settle it, not try to come back here in another 2 months and have a minute, something to just pass. Whatever, we settle it on 1, 2, or 3, and just go ahead and settle it now.
Well,
I completely understand the accident property, possibilities and the residential possibilities too, and just, I don't like you to want to compromise it too much on this case. I'd just say compromise at 200.
okay. I guess, you know, we have to take these each one separately, right, if we're making changes. Okay, so let's,
keep it simple.
yeah.
So that we can keep
Keep us
it
together. Okay, do I hear a motion to make a change in the screening of the solar farm ordinance on G, B, to add the word "and touching"?
so moved.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, I say we would raise our hands. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. So that part is done. Okay, I'll entertain a motion about this setbacks.
I'll make a motion that we include the language that's down the rear about the fence being located at the setback line.
Second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Okay, a motion-
F2, we're making that. Yes, we can.
yeah, it's F2. Yes, please read the
Okay.
motion.
The fence which encloses all solar panels as required by electrical code shall meet the minimum setback distance of 100 feet from all property boundary lines and in the zoning district.
Except for 100 feet.
You made it no privilege of it.
Excuse me.
Or you want to make that 200, you want to make a motion to it?
Yeah, I'll add that in there, I'll do that, and we'll change it 100 to 200.
Okay, so read it again.
The fence which which encloses all solar panels and is required by electrical code, shall meet the minimum setback distance of 200 feet from all property boundary lines in any zoning district.
Okay. Motion's been made, do I hear a second?
Second that motion, Madam Chair.
Motion's been made and second, do I hear discussion?
Like I say, I would like to see it stay as 100 feet until we have an opportunity to look at all possible scenarios associated with putting 100 feet back. I would not vote for a change at this time.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, by show of hands, we'll vote on this. Read the motion again.
The fence which encloses all solar panels and is required by electrical code shall meet the minimum setback distance of 200 feet from all property boundary lines in any zoning district.
Okay, all those for that change, raise your right hand. I'm left-handed. Okay, all those opposed? Okay, it passes 3-1. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve solar farm ordinance section 7.02, note 12 on solar farms?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion's been made. Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, once again by show of hands, all those in favor of the solar ordinance as amended, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Once again, it passes 3-1. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the work of the planning board. I know it has been tedious. Thank you to our citizens who have worked hard on it as well. And I'm kind of thankful we don't have to talk about it for a while.
I appreciate your education and too much reading.
But we need to keep Ray involved and busy. Okay, we probably need a 5-minute stretch break. These seats get mighty hard. Okay, new business, we'll go to that, and the personnel board recommendations are in your packet. Because of changing federal law or Fair Labor and Standards Act, you have done that reading. County manager, would you like to add anything?
Okay, based on the new Fair Labor Standards Act on December 1st, basically to summarize that if you make less than $47,476 a year annually, then you can no longer be considered exempt. And the people who are on the first memo, we'll make sure I put it in the correct order in your packet. Those people are currently considered exempt, but they do not make the new salary of $47,476 a year. And this is just to comply with the federal law.
Okay, as you see, so basically they're going to be moved from,
Yes, I'm sorry, from exempt to non-exempt.
they're going to be moved from exempt to non-exempt. And this is federal law.
And where is it for? Was it just if you were a supervisor? Is that where?
No, if you were a supervisor, the duties test remains the same. And the salary has changed. The current salary is $29,000. I don't have it right here.
It was listed 30, I think.
Right. It's 29,000 something, and it's not. But now it's going to be $47,000. And none of the people listed here make the minimum that's required. Their duties, this does not affect their duties or anything, it just takes them from exempt to non-exempt. Now, these positions are still, will be considered exempt. So if any of these people listed ever make the salary that's listed under the Fair Labor Standards Act, then they would become exempt.
Okay, and going to non-exempt means also that they will have to request permission to work overtime.
Correct.
And what's up before they were considered salary, and that was just,
Well, they're still salary. Basically, the only change that would make on them would be the way they earn their comp time.
Yeah.
Instead of getting flex time, they would earn comp time. So it would be time and a half over anything over 40, and they can improve it up to the maximum that's allowed.
Doesn't have to be authorized. What does it work?
Right.
okay, you've heard the, this motion or this change in federal law means that we have to change our rules as well.
This is for item 2.
Right, item 2. This is
Chairman, I make a motion that we make a change to the exempt status of the listed employees to comply with the Fair Labor Standards Act.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Mrs. Lane is still not here, so we'll
No,
go.
no, you need to go ahead and do it, because she's with Keystone.
Okay, gotcha. Mrs. Lane, last month was, reappointed as tax administrator, and the personnel board makes a recommendation to move her from grade 25, step 6 to grade 25, step 8.
She did receive all of her certifications as required, and I didn't like to put that in there.
That she has the various certifications that she needs. Her new salary would be $51,744 to be effective November 1st.
And does she have to be certified once a year or just certified?
She had to be certified.
She had to go to school and do a variety of things. She's been going to school now for,
For 2 years.
yeah. And this comes to us. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we move the tax administrator from grade 25, step 6 to step, grade 25, step 8. I couldn't find the 8 on this. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. The next item on is amendment 14. Ms. Pittman?
This amendment is to cover the emergency repairs needed after the hurricane. I think Natalie has received the invoices or the quotes. I have not received those. When Timmy and I did this, it was an estimated number. We wanted to put an estimate on here that we thought would be high enough, hopefully, to cover the permanent repairs as well. And we've done temporary repairs on some of it. So we're hoping this will cover everything again. I haven't seen the final numbers. If not, we'll be back to do this again. Rather than try to find this money within his budget, we opted to use fund balance appropriated, and if FEMA does reimburse us like we think they will, even if it's just a portion of it, it will go back in to cover that money that we have to pull from fund balance.
Okay.
So those invoices are still coming in?
I think they came in last week while I was not here. I have not seen them.
Madam Chairman, I'd like that motion on number 14, budget revision for
Do I hear a second?
But
Motion's been made second for a budget amendment 14 to take funds from the fund balance to cover the cost of emergency repairs to the water system. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, the fund balance we're discussing here is from the water and sewer fund, not the general fund balance.
Yeah.
Just to make sure everybody understands.
That's kind of what I thought. I was
Yes.
getting ready to ask that. They have a water.
that was my question also.
Yes, that is their fund balance, everything is separate there, and again, the FEMA funds would come back in and go back into that fund balance, not the general fund, that's correct.
Okay. Any all? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. The third hour is number 12, complex time for emergency situations.
I'm requesting that due to the state of emergency that was in effect from October 7th to October 18th, 2016, that exempt employees who accumulated flex time during those dates be allowed to carry that time forward until January 31st. That should be 2017. I apologize. Currently, the way the policy reads is that they have to earn it. And if they earn it in October, they would have to use it by the end of November. And because of the number of hours that some of the employees earn, that would not be possible for them to do that. And since there are some holidays coming up, I feel like between now and January 31st of 2017, they would be allowed, should be allowed to use that time. And any time earned during those days and not used by the end of January would be lost.
Okay. It's time that they earn while during the emergency situation. And certainly, it'd be hard for them to take it within a month. Okay. What is it?
I move that we grant this request.
Second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion made a second. Any discussion? And this is for the exempt employees only, correct?
Correct, because non-exempt, their time carries forward.
And if we strike the 2016 plus
It'd be
2017.
correct.
And how many employees are we talking about?
Handful, maybe 5, 6,
Okay.
but some of them had 100+ hours.
Okay. Well, you got somebody like Billy Wynn would have had, Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that is approved. Certainly, hopefully we don't have to go through that again. Anytime soon. Okay, citizens' comments. Yes.
When we went over administrative items, we did not give the finance department.
We didn't have a report.
Okay.
Yeah, we go down the reports, or any other questions?
I have an observation that I would like to have addressed. Since our last commissioners meeting, we do not include payroll data on the approved payout expenses. Why, when was that decision made and why was it made?
I don't think that part is something that's,
If you look in your,
It could have just been that I did not request that and that it was neglected to be on there. That was just an oversight.
well, it was missed last month.
Like I said, that was an oversight. I neglected to ask for it. I apologize. Payroll data doesn't really change a whole lot, but we can get you any months that you want.
You're talking about where the checks are listed at the end of the minutes, is that where you're addressing that, that would be part of the minutes, and we can just look and see why it's not there.
We have those, they were sent to me in my email, but in my absence, they weren't added.
All right.
So if you just send a written request, so we'll remember which ones it is that you want, we can.
We did it in June, we had it in June, and in July, just went to stop.
And that's what Ms. Lawrence just said, because she went out on maternity leave with her email.
Also, on the financial report, the quarterly. Just an observation, I know this is, I'm verified that this is what we've done in the past, so it's not something that just happened. But when the quarterly financial report, we showed a central depository checking beginning balance of $5,740,000, $505.94. We had an interest gain of $4,009.06. I take that as interest.
Yes, that's sorry.
Okay. And we had an end balance of $3,987.25. So we have $1,700.53 change. You know, obviously these are the checks that we've written over the last several months.
Checks, deposits, and there are numerous items. That's everything that runs through the checking account. So that's this report is to show you what we've earned or lost on our money and what the balances are.
Now, this end balance, would it also not include the deposits that are made, collections and all, any of it?
It's everything that's run through our checking account for that quarter. That number is going to go down until the tax bills go out, so it's just come back up. If you go back through the years, you can watch that number do this through the quarters.
I see in June, we had a beginning balance of $6,793.846, and we had an ending balance of $5,740,000. We have $1 million change. This time we have $1,733,000. But it's just.
Right, you have the expenditure and revenue reports to show you what money is running and took out as well. The reason that it's not started to climb again is because the tax bills didn't go out. Normally by this time of year, it's starting to go back up. June is when they're at a low point. But when the tax bills are late, you know, it just kind of changes.
It has a normal curve.
And it would kind of be helpful, I think, also that when we do this check, that we would have a total balance, total on these payouts.
The checks paid out.
Yeah, we have a total of $800,000.
Can you add that to your minutes, Melissa, please? If you do that.
Yeah.
We send the list, and it's just a matter of total on the spreadsheet.
There is a total on the bottom of this spreadsheet. The total following bills are ordered to be paid at the end of this minutes. It shows it's $1,241,479.41.
You're right. I didn't circle that. I didn't say that. Y'all can hear that. Okay. That's very good. All right, that's observations. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to,
There were no citizen comments.
okay, citizen comments, commissioners' comments. I'll start with what I just like. I did thank the people who came today. Certainly there's been a lot of time and effort placed in the solar ordinance. Hopefully that it works as well as we think it will. Speaking to the responders and the personnel, and who worked long, hard hours during Hurricane Matthew, we owe you a deepest gratitude. I was out on the road some and saw them working diligently, trying to make sure people's needs were being met. I would encourage the citizens of the county to sign up for Code Red. You can go on our website and do it, but that way you can get instant communications. We can send out things to you. We can't send it out if you don't sign up. So please, take a few minutes, sign up, get your telephone number up there so that you can find out the latest information that we have. And that's one of the things we will try to do, get as many people up there as possible. I wish Mr. Wynn was here, Sheriff Hathaway was here, there. Y'all did a super job, and we are very appreciative of that, and the volunteers. A lot of people volunteered. A lot of, I know, different groups to help feed them as well. People stepped up. They brought out the best nature in man in a time of crisis, and we do appreciate that.
Okay, I do thank everyone for coming today and all those that were here, even though some left. Do thank the citizens for their interest in the county local government. I know that interest is spurred from the fact that it affects all of us. And so, thank you for your concerns. We did try to do the best we could during the hurricane. There may be some areas where it could have been served better, but certainly, as the old saying goes, we try, but sometimes it's hard to do, satisfy all situations, but certainly we want to try to do the best we can and do better the next time that we can. Our sympathies do go out to the one lost life that was lost in Sunbury, the Saunders family. Do want everyone to know that we did put in a request to Raleigh to consider putting a rail in the area that could prevent it from happening again. So, we are observant. We're trying to do those things we can to make life better for all our citizens in the county. And we just thank you for coming.
I do thank everybody for coming today, and it was good to see the passion that was exhibited by so many different people for different subjects. And it's always good to see people that care and get concerned. And I too just commend all of the personnel, volunteer and paid personnel alike for all the service that was done during the hurricane situation. Everybody performed admirably, and as we saw, all departments working together, and it's good to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Felton and fellow commissioners, for recognizing that. And I too just am always impressed at how our folks in Gates County lived in other areas and seen other people operate. And it's not that they don't care, but it seems like our folks in Gates County, and it's always been this way since I can remember, that they pull together and out of the EOC, Mr. Wynn, our county manager, finance officer Sandy Pittman, and her staff were there taking notes, as well as the sheriff, and he had deputies dispatched, and Billy Wynn brought everything together, and it was just very heartwarming to see what was going on at the EOC. So anyone that might have any questions, I'm sure the county manager could ask us about that, answer those questions. Today we've again gone through the progress of transition from one stage to the other with the solar panel ordinance. But what I see as sitting here as the newest one is an outside perspective that we as commissioners and the county manager bring in for our citizens. The professional advisors bring it to us and bring it to you. And if you're part of this and attending, and we appreciate that attendance, you get to see that. So we developed from that alternative plans, and through that, we again appreciate your attendance and appreciate your advice. So thank you.
And one thing that I forgot, November 11th, next Friday, is Veterans Day. We take time to remember those who have served our country. We can never repay them for their service, but we do honor them at 11 o'clock with a program at the courthouse. Please tell your friends and family and churches that we have a celebration on November 11th at 11 o'clock at Gates County Courthouse. For all the veterans and their families anyone would like to come. And I think it's a very nice program.
Had a very large group together last year, look forward to another.
Okay, at this time, we will go in, do I have a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143-118, 11A, on legal, economic developments and real estate and personnel matters.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Second, enter closed session, thank y'all for coming. Stick with us.
I make a motion to come out of closed session.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Okay, I would entertain a motion, a request to, let me start again. Coming out of closed session, item of business to request that our county attorney sends a letter to the board. Draft a letter, excuse me, I have instructed our attorneys to draft a letter requesting that the Board of Elections follow the acquisition protocol. Do I have anyone would like to make a motion?
I'll have a motion to adjourn.
That motion has been made. Second.
Second.
Okay, second has been made. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn to our night meeting on November the 21st at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor, I had a motion, I had a second time, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.